Hi, I'm Miriam from Israel once again. Today we're going to look at Sukkot, or the Festival of Booths or Tabernacles. And if we look at Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles, we can see that it's one of the three major holidays in the Bible. And this fall feast of Israel is actually a biblical feast, or appointed time, as known in Leviticus 23. If we look at the verses 33 and 34, and then again we look at verses 39 through 42 in Leviticus 23, we will learn about this feast. This is actually the last feast on the Jewish calendar. So it's a culmination of all of the feasts that we've had during the Jewish year. It is the final. And this day is also known as the Ingathering, the Feast of Ingathering, or Hag HaAsif, Hag HaAsif. On the 15th day of the 7th month, this feast begins, and it is to last for 7 full days. On the first day, we are to take the fruit tree, and we are to take leafy palm branches, and we are to wave them inside of the sukkah booth, which we build, that temporary hut, or that tent. And we shake these 4 branches. We shake them to the left, we shake them to the right, we shake them up, we shake them down, because God, the God of Israel, is all around us, and we're acknowledging that as we shake. Now this is the lulav from the palm family, and then we have the etrog, or the citron. It looks a lot like a lemon, but it's not actually. It is an etrog. And then after that, we have the myrtle and the hadass. Let me just get these for you. The myrtle and the hadass. And we wave these all around. Now, all native Israelites are to live in booths for 7 days. Now, this generation, some may just sit in a tabernacle booth each year for perhaps a half an hour, maybe 15 minutes, just to eat a dessert or have an orange, or the point is that he sat in the sukkah booth. And also the children at school will make beautiful decorations, and the families will hang them on the walls. We also have pomegranates, and we have fruit hanging inside of the sukkah booths during this time. But an important key issue is to remember that the top of the sukkah booth is placed palm trees, palm branches, and this is so that we may look up and we may see the heavens, that God did this amazing leading the children of Israel, the Israelites, through the desert for 40 years, caring for them, taking care of their needs, taking care of their physical needs for food and manna daily, and their spiritual needs, that he would guide them with a pillar of fire at night and a cloud by day. So we are acknowledging God's faithfulness. And if we would just keep that roof open, we will be able to remember that each year by looking up in our sukkah booth. And we do that with putting a palm branch on the sukkah roof. Now, this feast was understood in Jesus' time, in Yeshua's time, to be linked to the Messiah's coming. And so in Zechariah 14, we see Peter the apostle understood this very well. So in Matthew 17:4, on the Mount of Transfiguration, we see that Peter suggested to the Lord to build a tabernacle. Let's look at this. He said, "Lord, it's good that we are here." And we're reading from Matthew 17:4. Let's build a booth. Let's build a tabernacle. Let's build a sukkah. One for you, Lord, Peter said, and one for Moses, and one for Elijah. Wow. During the Feast of Tabernacles, a lighting ceremony also took place at Jerusalem with these huge candelabras that were lit, and all Jerusalem could be seen. And it was a spectacular sight. The ancient writings tell us. Beautiful sight of Jerusalem, that if you'd never seen it, the ancient sages said you had never really lived. So imagine how beautiful that temple lighting ceremony was on the Feast of Tabernacles. So imagine that, the lighting of the candelabras on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem on the Feast of Tabernacles. And there was also a water pouring ceremony by the priests. First, it was drawn down at the brook of Shiloah. And then after, they would carry it back up with these huge pots up the mountain, back up to the Temple Mount. And they would pour the water out on the altar, and it would flow down through the court and out through the court of the women. Now we can see Messiah in these beautiful symbols. Yeshua is the light of the world. And he said, if anyone is thirsty, come to me and they will never thirst. And in Revelation 21, 3-6, John tells us, and I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, now the dwelling place of God is with men. The tabernacle of God is with men, and he will live with them. He will live, tabernacle, with us. Hallelujah. They will be his people, and he shall be their God. He himself will be with them, and he will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no death. There will be no mourning, no crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. Hallelujah. This is our hope, family of God, when God himself tabernacles with us, dwells with us on this final feast of tabernacles, this wonderful biblical celebration, the Feast of Tabernacles. If you have been grafted into Israel, you too can take this season to remember what good and faithful things and acts God has done for you. You can also rejoice that he never leaves you, just as he never left the Israelites, bringing him out of the desert and the wilderness from 40 years of wandering and into his abundant and joyful promises. It may take some time, as the tabernacle represents the 40 years in the wilderness, but it also reminds us that he never forgets us. He never forgets you. This is Miriam Abramov in Rishon, LeZion with SNN News. We can know his dwelling, the tabernacling every day with Messiah Jesus, Yeshua, the loving Messiah of Israel and of all the world. Happy Sukkot! And don't forget to leave that roof part open in your sukkah, and you can see the great and wondrous handiwork and power of our God. Just look up. Wait for it. It's coming. Shalom from Am Israel, a sure miracle of God's promises.